This is where we do a deeper dive into the most high-profile and memorable true crime cases. Tonight, lies, an affair, and 3 shocking murders.
What you're about to hear are the actual words of family annihilator Chris Watts, speaking from his prison cell. Words that revealed disturbing new details about the Watts family murders that shocked Colorado and the world.
The court is going to sentence you, sir, to life in the Colorado Department of Corrections with no possibility of parole.
Details that even seasoned investigators couldn't have imagined. I'm bringing you exclusive analysis of Chris Watts's prison interviews, psychological evaluations, and shocking confessions that surfaced after his guilty plea. This is the story they don't want you to know. August 13th, 2018, Frederick, Colorado. A picture-perfect family vanishes without a trace. Pregnant Shanann Watts and her 2 young daughters, Bella and Celeste, seemingly disappear into thin air. But within 48 hours, the truth would emerge in the most horrifying way possible. The man responsible? Shanann's husband and the girl's father, Chris Watts. But the story didn't end with his arrest. What Chris revealed in his prison interviews would expose a level of cold calculation that defied belief. The perfect family facade. To understand the monster behind the murders, we need to examine the facade Chris Watts carefully constructed. On social media, the Watts family appeared perfect. Shanann regularly posted videos of their life together, family trips, birthday parties, Chris playing with the girls. But according to prison interviews conducted by investigators and FBI behavioral analysts, Chris had been living a double life for months. He was having an affair with co-worker Nichol Kessinger and had convinced himself that his family was the only obstacle to his freedom. In a chilling 2019 prison interview, Chris admitted, "I thought if they were just gone, I could start over." The casual way he discusses his family's deaths would become a recurring theme in these recordings. The night of the murders, new timeline. For months, investigators believed they knew exactly what happened on August 12, 2018. But Chris's prison confessions revealed a timeline that was even more disturbing than originally thought. According to the official prison interview transcripts, Chris didn't act in a moment of rage as initially claimed. Instead, he had been planning for weeks. "I knew Shanann was coming home from her business trip," he told investigators. "I knew what I was going to do."
The girls are still in the truck.
Okay.
Did they ask you what you were doing, taking mommy out, or?
Yeah, I don't remember what I told them, but they did ask that.
What they say specifically?
It was more of like, what are you doing to mommy?
Okay.
When Shanann returned home around 2 a.m., Chris was waiting. But here's where his story gets truly horrific. He reveals that he had already made preparations. The burial site at Survey Oil Field wasn't chosen randomly. Chris had scouted the location days earlier. If this is already shocking you, wait until you hear what he did next. Hit that like button if you're following along. The psychological profile, inside a killer's mind. Dr. Lena Derhally, a licensed psychotherapist who analyzed the Chris Watts case, identified him as a covert narcissist with sociopathic tendencies. But his prison interviews revealed something even more disturbing. Chris displays what forensic psychologists call instrumental aggression, violence used as a tool to achieve a goal, rather than crimes of passion. In one particularly chilling moment from his 2020 interview, Chris states, "I don't really feel sad about it anymore. I just feel nothing." FBI behavioral analyst Agent Tammy Lee noted that Chris showed more emotion when discussing his extramarital affair than when talking about his daughter's deaths. This emotional detachment isn't just rare, it's the hallmark of a true psychopath. The most disturbing revelation? Chris admits he practiced his grieving husband act in the mirror for hours before reporting his family missing. Shocking confession. What really happened to Bella and Celeste? Content warning. The following contains disturbing details about violence against children. For over a year, Chris maintained that he killed Shanann in a rage and that she had harmed the children. But in his February 2019 prison interview, the truth finally emerged.
Being a dad was the best part of my life. I took it all away.
Chris confessed that he alone murdered all 3 victims. Most horrifying was his admission about 4-year-old Bella. According to the interview transcript, Bella witnessed him loading Celeste's body into his truck and asked, "What are you doing to Cece?" The level of premeditation becomes clear when Chris reveals he had researched how long it would take for bodies to decompose in oil tanks. He chose that method specifically because he believed it would destroy DNA evidence. In the same interview, Chris admitted he felt relieved after completing the murders. This isn't the response of someone who acted in passion. This is calculated, cold-blooded murder. The details get even more disturbing. Make sure you're subscribed, because this story goes deeper than anyone imagined. The Mistress Connection. Deeper than we knew. Nichol Kessinger claimed she had no knowledge of Chris's intentions, but his prison interviews reveal a more complex relationship. In previously unreleased portions of his confession, Chris admits he and Nichol had discussed what their life would be like when he was free. Phone records show Chris and Nichol spoke for nearly 2 hours the night before the murders. While Nichol maintains they discussed ending their relationship, Chris's version tells a different story. He claims she encouraged him to handle his situation once and for all. Perhaps most disturbing is Chris's admission that he Googled how to calculate pregnancy due dates just days before the murders. Investigators believe he was trying to determine exactly when Shanann would give birth, information that may have accelerated his timeline. The FBI investigation revealed that Nichol had also been researching Chris online, including searching for wedding dresses and looking up Shanann's social media accounts weeks before the murders. Life behind bars. The monster in prison. Chris Watts is currently serving 5 life sentences without the possibility of parole at Dodge Correctional Institution in Wisconsin. But his life behind bars reveals more about his true nature. According to prison staff interviews, Chris has shown no signs of genuine remorse. He spends his time reading, working out, and reportedly still receives fan mail from disturbed individuals who are attracted to his case. In his most recent psychological evaluation, Chris scored exceptionally high on the Psychopathy Checklist Revised, PCLR, particularly in areas measuring lack of empathy and failure to accept responsibility. His score places him in the category of criminal psychopath. Prison psychologist Dr. Michael Stone noted that Chris has never expressed genuine remorse for his actions, only regret at being caught. In one interview, Chris stated, "I wish I had been smarter about it." The Shanann factor. Victim blaming exposed. One of the most disturbing aspects of Chris's prison interviews is his continued attempts to blame Shanann for the murders. He repeatedly claims she was controlling and financially irresponsible due to her involvement in MLM businesses. But financial records tell a different story. Shanann was actually the primary breadwinner, earning more from her MLM business than Chris made at his oil field job. The couple's debt problems were largely due to Chris's secret spending on his affair. Criminal psychologist Dr. Joni Johnston explains that this victim blaming is typical of narcissistic killers. They cannot accept responsibility, she notes, so they must make the victim responsible for their own death. Perhaps most telling is Chris's admission that he researched divorce laws in Colorado, but decided murder would be easier than going through custody proceedings. This wasn't about abuse or control. This was about convenience. The children's final moments, a father's ultimate betrayal. The most heartbreaking revelations from Chris's prison confessions involve the final moments of Bella and Celeste's lives. These details are difficult to discuss, but they're crucial to understanding the depth of Chris's depravity. According to his confession, 4-year-old Bella asked Chris repeatedly about her mother's location. She knew something was wrong. The trust a child places in their parent makes this betrayal incomprehensible to most people. Child psychologist Dr. Sarah Miller explains that Bella's final words to her father, "Please don't hurt me," demonstrate that even at 4 years old, she understood what was happening. This level of terror and betrayal is beyond most people's comprehension. Chris's ability to carry out these acts against his own children, then immediately begin covering his tracks, demonstrates a level of emotional detachment that defines the most dangerous criminals in our society. The investigation breakthrough: how they caught him. While Chris thought he had committed the perfect crime, investigators were building a case from the moment he reported his family missing. His behavior during the police interviews was the first red flag. Detective Dave Baumhover later revealed that Chris's body language and responses were immediately suspicious. He showed more concern about missing work than missing his family, Baumhover noted in post-case interviews. The breakthrough came when investigators found Shanann's wedding ring between the couch cushions and discovered Chris had been deleting text messages. Cell phone tower data then placed him at the oil field during the time he claimed to be at work. But it was the neighbor's security camera that sealed his fate. The footage clearly showed Chris loading something heavy into his truck, something he had denied doing just hours earlier. The evidence was overwhelming, but Chris still tried to maintain his innocence. What do you guys think? Like this video if you want to see more investigative breakdowns like this. The guilty plea and aftermath. On November 6, 2018, facing the death penalty, Chris Watts pleaded guilty to multiple counts of first-degree murder. The plea deal spared him from execution, but guaranteed he would never see freedom again. During his sentencing hearing, Shanann's father, Frank Rizuchek, addressed Chris directly. "I trusted you to take care of them, and you killed them." Chris showed no visible emotion during the victim impact statements. The case officially closed, but Chris's prison confessions continued to reveal new details. His willingness to discuss the murders in clinical detail suggests he views his actions as problem-solving rather than moral failures. This mindset, treating the annihilation of his family as a logistical challenge rather than an unspeakable tragedy, may be the most chilling aspect of the entire case. The Chris Watts case represents one of the most calculated family annihilation crimes in recent memory. His prison interviews reveal not a man consumed by passion or rage, but a cold, calculating individual who viewed murder as the most efficient solution to his problems. The psychological profile that emerges from these confessions is that of a true psychopath, someone capable of mimicking normal human emotions while feeling nothing inside. Chris Watts didn't kill his family in a moment of madness. He executed a plan he had been developing for weeks. For the families of Shanann, Bella, and Celeste, these revelations provide answers but no comfort. The betrayal of trust, the premeditation, and the callous aftermath paint a picture of evil that's difficult to comprehend. Chris Watts will spend the rest of his life in prison, but his case serves as a chilling reminder that monsters don't always look like monsters. Sometimes they look like the person sleeping next to you. If this case has taught us anything, it's that we must pay attention to red flags and trust our instincts. The signs were there. Investigators identified multiple warning indicators that were overlooked or dismissed. Make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for more deep-dive true crime investigations. In our next video, we'll be examining other family annihilator cases and the psychological patterns that connect them. Drop a comment below with your thoughts on this case, and let me know what true crime story you'd like to see covered next. Remember to like this video if it kept you engaged, and share it with anyone interested in criminal psychology. Thanks for watching, and remember, stay aware, stay safe.